to 15 Minutes of Fame. I am your hostess with the mostest, Georgia Varjas from Step Up and Stand Out. And we are ready to radiate the confidence in the Sassy Speakers Club. Today, I have with me Fiona Clark, who is a midlife energizer. And she has this very special approach of balancing energy and life. Ooh, this is going to be a fantastic topic. I've never heard of that amazing combination of balancing energy, life. Oh, you've got to tell us all about that.
I will do. Hi there, Georgia. Nice to see you. So the energy, I've created this energy balance approach because it's a combination of all the skills and the techniques and the strategies that I've actually been using for the last 25 plus years, from kinesiology, which is what I first initially trained as a kinesiologist. I've done reflexology, acupressure, crystal healing, coaching, EFT. So I use a lot of that. So, and many, many other things. So what I've done really is just put this into a program, because I use all these skills with my clients anyway, because actually one of my passions really, Georgia, has always been to inspire my clients to help themselves. And to do that, they need a kit bag of skills and strategies and techniques. And so really what this approach is about is having that kit bag that I can share with my clients. And so if they're having a sleepless night, if they're having a stressful day, they know what to do, because actually all the healing is within our fingertips. And it's just knowing how and where to put those to create that place of peace and calm and balance, which is what we all need.
So it's a fantastic idea that by doing these things, by giving your clients a kit, they can take their health into their own hands, because you actually know more about your body and your health than you realize.
Absolutely right. And you know what, we do certain things, like for example, we put our hand on our head here, don't we? Quite often you see us doing this, or kids do. And the reason we do that is because we've got two neurovascular points here, which when we're stressed, blood goes away from your body. And so by doing this, we're literally just bringing the blood back up to our head, which creates a place of peace and calm. And we do these things subconsciously, but there's always a reason why we're doing this. So that's just one example of, the body knowing what it needs in any particular moment.
Absolutely. It's like we don't use enough common sense these days, do we? Because it is a kind of physically logical. It kind of makes sense if we'd only been educated to know these things.
And this is coming back to having that awareness of yourself. And I think so often we don't, because we're too busy up in the old, I call this the committee up here, having a conference where you've got all these voices in there telling you you're not good enough and you're too fearful to do this, and all this limiting beliefs that we have, that actually when we get out of that and we connect back into our heart space and you understand and really take notice of what is going on in your physical body, that is when the magic happens. That is when you get your inspiration. That is when you know what you need, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, everything.
Wonderful. I love this idea. I think it is really important to get that balance, because then you can function so well in life and you can rise up and your vibe is good and you give off that good energy, which you can share with people and your clients. It's fabulous. So do you speak about this as well, Fiona?
Yes, I do. I was actually doing a talk last Saturday, in fact. Yeah, I mean, this is something that I've put together very recently. So I haven't specifically been talking about the whole approach, but I've been talking about different aspects of what I do for many years. It's just now I'm bringing it all together under this title, actually.
And what did you do at the talk? Tell us.
Yes. Actually, it was a wonderful talk. I met some really beautiful women, and it was a wellness day put together by somebody that I'd never met before. This is the beauty of online connection. And it was in memory actually of my stepsister who died in January of cancer. And we put a wellness day together to raise some money for the charities that she was very, very close to. So I was talking about 3 steps to inner peace, because that isn't that just what we are all looking for? That's what we need. That's what we want. But so often it is nowhere near. It just doesn't happen in our lives.
How did you start the talk?
How I started the talk actually was, I thought, right, I need to sort of create a little curiosity, and I was just very keen to find out what people think about the word peace. And so the first question I asked actually was, how many of you here in this room actually feel at peace within yourself?
Wow.
And I was actually very surprised that one person at about 30 or 40 actually put their hands up. And it came about that the majority of them had so much anxiety in their life, and they were sort of, some of them were telling me later on that actually they'd been sort of experiencing anxiety and overwhelm for like years. I mean, and someone later told me like 30, 40 years. And I know that actually talking to other people and seeing clients, etc., that this is such a big issue for so many people. And it's not necessarily an age thing. This comes down to children as much as it does, you know, teenagers, adults, through the spectrum.
So how do you prepare for the speech? Do you have a little ritual or anything like that?
I actually do a lot of visualization, because for me that works. I'm a very visual person, and for me I visualize exactly how I want to feel when I'm doing the talk, coming across with clarity, coming across with the message that I really need to get out to whoever my audience is. So I really visualize all this. I visualize how that the audience will also respond. So I do a little bit of that. I do a little bit of theta healing, maybe just putting the energy out there as well. So I create this space before I actually start my talk. And that always seems to go really, really well.
So it gives you that step up, that boost.
Yeah.
I remember years ago when I was in the music business, and I used to have to go on stage to play. Big stages, big audiences, lots of lights, you can't see anybody. And for me, it was always about releasing those butterflies, letting them go free. So I had to sort of jump up and down and get the energy going and get those butterflies to just disappear. So for me, it's a very physical thing of being, you know, letting that blood flow around. I've just been reading about Rafa Nadal, because I do adore watching the top sports people.
Yes.
And how they prepare for their big tournaments, you know, the big finals and the Grand Slams and things like that. And they all have rituals. They all go in for preparation, you know, they prepare. There's this like professional mindset. And it sounds like what you're doing is just it's a very beautiful way to do it. It's very feminine.
And I think it's really important that we do that, so that we actually really are focused on what we're doing, and then we're really, you know, we can speak more articulately. The other thing I do quite often, if I'm really stressed out, or I might do it the night before the event or whatever it is, I'll do some tapping, if anyone knows about the EFT, and I will just tap out any anxiety that I'm feeling, any sort of lack of confidence or not coming across in the most articulate way that I want to. And that works a treat as well, because it really, when we have all those nerves, it's just us being out of balance again. So it's just bringing us back into that space of being calm, feeling confident, feeling like we can do anything.
I think sometimes we focus on the mental preparation, and sometimes on the physical, and sometimes it's a combination of the two. And I think it is very much depending on the atmosphere, where you are. I remember last year I had a speaking gig, and they said to me, oh, you're going to be on this big stage over here, and we're going to have the video there, and they gave all the details. And then they changed it in the last minute, and we ended up in a classroom. Lighting was terrible, there was no video, and 14 people in the room. And it just totally threw me.
Yeah.
And for the first few, I don't know, perhaps just 20 seconds, I was,
What?
you know, I didn't know how to handle it. Or my big stage.
I'm sure you did beautifully. I'm sure you did.
You know what it's like. Nobody knows what you're going to say, so they don't know that you've said paragraph 9 instead of paragraph 3 or whatever, you know.
Sometimes you have to adapt, and I had to do that, speaking about that on Saturday, because somebody was talking before me about anxiety, and so I really wanted to follow a little bit more on from where she had started and done her talk. So I had to adapt what I was saying somewhat as well. And I thought, right, okay, I'm just going to see how this flows. It will just happen. And actually it did beautifully. So I was really, well, not surprised, but I was actually quite sort of relieved that it just flew as it did. So.
And did you have a time beforehand to go around and meet people or to look at the place, or are those important to you?
Sometimes that is nice to be able to do that. I mean, sometimes you literally go to the event and you're just, you've got 10 minutes just to sort of be there, and then people are coming in, so you have really no idea, which doesn't actually seem to bother me too much, actually. I think as long as I know what I'm going to talk about, then I think that's the key thing, and just being present enough to make sure that I come across articulately enough and clearly enough. That's really what I'm sort of most concerned about, really, when it comes to it.
So what advice would you give to people who are ready to speak out their talents and their experiences or their abilities?
I think it's having a structure, isn't it? You've got to have sort of like a key points. I would say have key points. If you sort of rehearse it, it's never going to go like that, because things do happen, things do change. And also you feel maybe more nervous than you thought. So I think it is having a bit of a structure. That's really important. That's what I have found. Knowing how to start it, to create that curiosity, so people are going to continue to want to listen to you, because I think we've all had the experience of where we've gone to a talk and then within 5 minutes you're like, oh God, I want to walk out right now, but you're sitting right in the front and you're thinking, I can't. So it's actually, that is for me the most important thing, is keeping the attention, keeping that people want to still listen to what you've got to say. And sometimes that can be quite difficult. So it takes a little preparation of how to start it, create the curiosity, keep the attention there.
And I think it was a really good idea that you started with a question, because it gets people engaged, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and it certainly did. And I didn't expect the response I got, because I didn't think it was going to be quite as low as that.
So what's next for you? What are your plans for the summer?
I am, as I said, just going forwards with creating more of a plan for this energy balance approach. And I'm going to be bringing out an 8-week program coming up next month, because my passion really is to inspire as many midlifers, really, to get the smiles back in their life, to let go of all this anxiety and all the stuff that's happened in the past. It's in the past. Yeah. We can't change the past, but what we can do and what we're so in control of is changing the way we see it and we react to it. So reframing all of that and bringing back to a place of peace. And if you've got a kit bag, you've got the skills until the tools and techniques to use at any time to do it.
For me, that's so absolutely true. The past is gone, accept it, move on. There's nothing you can do about it. And analysing it, and I think women particularly, they are very good at overthinking, over-analysing and labelling. And it's time to let that go and just get on with life. Life is short, isn't it?
It is. And it's such a cliche, Georgia, isn't it, that, we hear life is short, but actually it's so true. Somebody put it into context for me a little while ago, actually, and they said, okay, you've got maybe 3 decades left. So think of that as a 30-foot container. What are you going to fill it with? And I thought, oh, wow, that's a bit scary, actually. But it's so true. What do you want to achieve still? What passions, desires, dreams are still there? Because before we know it, another 5 years has gone. Yeah. And you're still thinking about what has happened in the past. It's holding you back rather than allowing you to think, oh, my God, what's available to me now? What is out there that I'm just going to go on a massive adventure and discover?
So how can people get in contact with you?
Right, well, you can go to my website, which is www.fionaclark.co.uk. Come and join me and all my other lovely ladies in the Magnificent Midlifers Facebook group. I'm also on Twitter, but I couldn't get those names. So it's Fee the Midlife Coach, I think it is. It's a new one that started. And of course, email me at ficlark@me.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook and Instagram as the Magnificent Midlifers.
Absolutely magnificent, Fiona. Thank you. Thank you for joining me, my darling, and I wish you a beautiful afternoon.